Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
The title of my talk is I'm the luckiest man alive, and I am. I've got a great wife. I've got a great family. I've got a great business. I live in a great state. I live in the greatest country in the history of the world, the United States of America. I've still got my health at my advanced age. I am the luckiest man alive. And I'm also lucky that the swelling has gone down in my right eye, that I can see out of it again. Actually, my wife Jody and I have been married for 45 years, and she said it was 5 of the best years of my life. I don't know if you know, some of you remember Rocky Marciano. But Rocky Marciano and my wife Jody have one thing in common: undefeated in the ring. Neither one of them ever lost a fight. And if you know Jody, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but she has kind of a little bit of a jaw deformity. The jaw will not form the words, I'm sorry or I'm wrong. And her comment says, why should I say I'm sorry when I'm not? But actually what happened to my eye, we went to a marriage encounter class. You know, put more romance in your wedding. And the facilitator looked at me and he said, Stan, he said, you got to be more romantic. Like, for example, what's Jody's favorite flower? And I thought for a minute, and I said, well, gee, I don't know if it's gold medal, Pillsbury, or whole wheat. And that's when she hit me with that marriage manual. So I can see out of it barely right now. But I talked about a great wife. I got a great family. We have 5 children. I'm lucky to have 3 of them in the business. I used to be known in my own right, but now I've got a son that started the Bacon Festival. I think some of you know the Bacon Festival. So I'll walk into a bar. I do go once in a while. And they say, hi, Brooks, who's that old man with you? And so I'm doing, but I think of stories about our kids. And Brooks, when he was in high school, he came to me and he said, Dad, I'm 16 years old now. I really want a car. I said, Brooks, we're not even going to think about giving you a car until 1, you get your grades up, 2, you start reading the Bible, and 3, you cut your damn hair. 3 months later, he comes in with his report card, 4 A's and a B. If my heart can stand that, I can stand anything. Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. And he said, Dad, I'm reading the Bible and becoming a student of the Bible. But I've noticed in the Bible there's pictures, and Jesus had long hair just like I do. So I'm not cutting my hair. I said, Brooks, you'll also notice that Jesus walked everywhere he went. And then my son Stan, who is a vice president of Reynolds, when he was in high school, I said to him, now, Stan, if you go 35 miles an hour down Grand Avenue, you'll hit every stoplight. It'll be always green. He said, Dad, I know that, but also if you go 70, you hit every stoplight on the green. And the other person that's in our business is our daughter Suzanne, who spent 12 years in the insurance business in Chicago. And all of a sudden they wanted to have a family, and then Des Moines looks real good versus commuting for an hour and a half one way to live in a house and work in downtown Chicago. So I'm telling her I'm trying to get her back to Des Moines. I said, remember, Suzanne, the cost of living in Des Moines is a hell of a lot lower than it is in Chicago. She said, Dad, if you think I'm coming to work for less money, you're out of your mind. And then the latest one she did is, she said, Dad, I'm mother to 3 of your grandsons, and I think I should work only 4 days a week and not work Fridays. I said, that's fine. We'll just pay you 4/5 of your salary. He said, no, Dad, you don't quite understand how this is going to work. She works 4 days a week. She works a little longer at the time, but that's what it is. But we have 2 other people. But Reynolds and Reynolds, we are very fortunate. We're very lucky. We have a wonderful group of people. I'm very proud that we were voted best place to work in Iowa a couple of years ago, and that makes me feel good. But we talk about employees, and I was listening to the topics that you had here today, and I'll tell you something. You had some damn good meat in those topics, and there was stuff you could take home to your business. But some of the things that I have used in our company, one of the things that we do, we used to pay bonuses. We paid bonuses, and we called them bonuses. Now we pay profit sharing, and there's a huge difference because they feel they're a part of it. If we make money, they're all going to share in that, and we developed a formula how we do that. But what it does, it makes them, you never hear, that's not my area. You hear, how are we doing? But that's important. They become a part of the act, and I think it's a great thing, and we're lucky enough, we pay 100% of their medical and dental, so we have no turnover. Actually, I always say getting a job at Reynolds and Reynolds is being like sentenced to life in prison, no chance of parole. But I live in the great state of Iowa. I got transferred here right out of college with the 3M company. I lobbied for them. That's how I got to meet Steve Roberts. But Minnesota, they didn't like Iowa that much. But I can say now that I am an Iowan. I am not a Minnesotan anymore. I've been here for a long time, and I think it is the greatest state in the United States to live in. And I used to tell jokes from the other side. Now I tell them from Iowa's standpoint. And I love the one I like to tell is, now some of you don't even remember this, but do you remember when dimmers were on the floor of cars? Remember that? You had to hit that little button. And then they moved them up to the steering wheels, but up in Minnesota, they had to put them back on the floor because many of the people, the Swedes and Norwegians in Minnesota, were getting their feet caught in the steering wheel, so they had to put them back. But I have a favor to ask, and this is kind of I get to do some speaking. One of the things I'm going to ask you a favor. Never, ever say, Iowa, it's a great place to raise a family. It is the greatest place to raise a family, but if you say that, it means, yeah, it's a nice place to raise a family. It's a little boring. All you have to say is it's a great place to live. So if you all promise me you're never going to say, yeah, it's a great place to raise a family, as your opener. All right. And another thing, how I'm lucky, I get to be in front of a group like you, key business leaders from across the state of Iowa that care to make this economy the best that it possibly can be. And the signs that I see, Iowa is on a very, very strong road. And I've learned if you go that extra mile, if you do that extra something for your employees, for your clients, things work out. And I thought of an example. 10 years ago, I was in New York, and I was speaking at a dinner, and I was there for 3 days, and lo and behold, I'm a pretty good packer. I travel a lot, but I forgot to pack shirts. And I have kind of an unusual size. I wear a 1636. I don't know why, but that's just what I am. And you can go into a store, you can find hundreds of 1635s, you can find a lot of 16 and a half 36s, but 1636 is a tough thing. I went into Bloomingdale's, and I said to the clerk, do you have any 1636 shirts? Well, I suppose we do. She said, they're all marked on the shelf, go look. I couldn't find them. I went into Macy's, same deal. I said, do you have 1636 shirts? Well, I can't imagine that we don't. I said, where are they? Well, I don't know. I said, well, you work here, don't you? Yeah, but I don't know where every shirt is. So I didn't buy either. I went to the next store, and I walked in, and I said, excuse me, do you have any 1636 shirts? And the sales lady said to me, oh, yes, we do. Do you want solids or stripes or checks? What would you like? Well, I don't know. I just want to look at them. She took me over, and she said, I'm going to show you a shirt that is unbelievable. This shirt is the best shirt you'll ever buy. And she said, what don't you like about your shirts? I don't know. I never thought about what I didn't like about my shirts. Well, yeah, I can think of it. I don't like it when the cuff wears out where my watch is. Kind of ticks me off. The shirt's fine, but I got a ruffled cuff, and so the shirt's no good. She said, anything else? Well, you can say the same thing about the collar. The collar rubs on that stubble back there, and it wears out, and she's writing this all down. She said, well, anything else? Well, Kelly, I just have never thought. Well, yeah, I don't like it when buttons break on my shirt, especially when you're out of town. Anything else? Yeah, I don't like it when the shirts are not very long and they don't stay tucked in your pants. She says, I'm going to show you a shirt that's got silk thread in the cuff. They just never wear out. Same silk threads in the collar. Mother of pearl buttons, they just don't break. And the shirt's 3 inches longer than a normal shirt, so it always stays tucked in. Well, because that sales clerk went that extra effort, I end up buying 9 shirts. 9 shirts. I mean, unbelievable. But it really hit home to me. if you go that extra mile with your client, if you go that extra mile with your employee, results happen. And I think I'm a results guy, and I would strongly recommend that you do that. You know, I forget that I'm wired, so I'm always leaning into the mic, but I guess I don't have to do that. But some of the lessons that I've learned in my business, if you take care of your employees, they'll take care of you. And, you know, we're a service business. Turnover is a very, very expensive thing in our business. Our largest client has only known one account team, the same account team for 17 years. And this client has 8,000 movie theaters. So it's a very, very important client. But it's that service angle of our business, and many of you are in the service business as well. That key employee, and you talked about the retention of employees. Well, we think it's very, very important at Reynolds and Reynolds. You know, and I heard when I said, well, he must have read my little talk here, because I used to be a camp director when I was in college. And we used to say, happy staff, happy camp. and that was said this morning. If your employees are happy, they're going to be much more productive. But they do. And we don't micromanage. We feel if we have to micromanage people, we have the wrong people. Hire people that you don't have to look over their shoulder. And, you know, I've been involved in charitable activities for many, many years, and the rewards of my life, I've gotten so much more of what I've given than I ever gave. And, you know, they say, what rewards are you talking about? I'll tell you a story. We had a party for 1,100 kids at Blank Park Zoo. And we had hats and T-shirts. And I gave this little boy a hat, and he started to cry. And I said, what are you crying about? He said, I've never had a hat before. You know, how many people get rewards like that in their life? And one time we took a group of kids to a mall, and we crossed I-235. And this little girl looks at me, and she said, Mister, are we going to the other side of the world? Well, it's what it's all about. I don't know if you were at the Principal Charity Classic, but it's a wonderful thing. And Principal should be just applauded for all their effort to do that, because it's so good for our state. It presents us all over, not just in the United States, but all over the world. And I should say the Principal Charity Classic presented by Wells Fargo, because that's the full thing. But these are caring corporate citizens that make a difference. And Mary O'Keefe, who's the Senior Vice President of Marketing at Principal, went to every pro and said, if you win the tournament, will you buy an adaptive bike for a handicapped child? And to a person, they said yes. Russ Cochran, who won the tournament, not only bought one, he bought 5 bikes. So those are stories you don't hear, but they're pretty dang good stories. And actually, I have this typed in big type, so I can read it without my glasses. But then I wrote something there that I have to kind of bring it a little closer. But I thought of another thing. Talking to a parent who comes up to you and said, thank you for what you do in Variety. My son, who's now 11 years old, is here today because the Variety neonatal unit at Blank Children's Hospital. But we also have one at Mercy Hospital. We have one at St. Luke's Hospital in Cedar Rapids. And I've been involved in many, many activities, but the most rewarding that I've ever been involved with is the Variety Club of Iowa. It's now called Variety, the Children's Charity. And it's kind of a fun story. In 1974, 4 of us went to an international convention in San Francisco. These were the officers of the Variety of Iowa. This was before cell phones. There was a little note in my box, come to room 407 at 4 o'clock. And we walked in, and there was a group sitting at kind of like the Last Supper. We were sitting in there, and they said, we're going to pull the charter of the Variety of Iowa. You're not raising any money. You're not helping any children. And we said, wait a minute. Give us a chance. We've got a new charity. We're going to expand and equip the neonatal unit at Blank Children's Hospital. And we got a new group of people that are dedicated to do that. So they said, okay, we'll put you on probation for a year. And the 4 of us went to a seminar on how to put on a telethon. And we came back to Des Moines, just like Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland, and we're going to put on a show, we're going to put on a telethon. And we were too dumb to know that we couldn't do it. We did it. And we raised $151,000. We all bawled like babies. And I'm very, very proud to say we just finished our 39th telethon. And I talk about sentence to life in prison, no chance of parole. I've been there all 39 years. And they said, when's that old geezer going to give up? But I'm going to do one more year. But I write and produce the show, and I work on them almost all year long. And I'm very, very proud to say that in that 39 years, we've raised over $95 million for the kids of Iowa, and I'm pretty proud of that. And one of the things that we want the best facilities for our children right here in Iowa. We don't want, if you have a problem, we don't want to have to go to New York City or Pittsburgh or Dallas, Texas. I hope you all agree with me. If we want to have something done, we want it done right here in Iowa, and that's kind of what we do. And I've been asked many times, they say, Stan, why do you work in variety? And I'll tell you something. My answer is very simple. I work in variety and other charitable activities because it makes me feel good. I've been blessed in my life. As I said, I'm the luckiest man in the world. And I really believe this is an old saying, but those of us that have been blessed have to give back, because if we don't do it, who will? So that's what I feel in my life. But if you have your personal life and your business life in order, you're better at everything you do. You're better with your family, you're better in your job, you're better with charitable activities. So I would encourage you, make sure your family and personal life's in order, make sure your business life in order, and then I would encourage you to give back. And I would encourage you in management to create an atmosphere in your companies where you say, we're for you working. I don't care what it is, whether it's a PTA or March of Dimes or American Cancer Society or Variety, the children's charity, or Little League or soccer, whatever. Get involved in your community. You'll get those great feelings that I've gotten in my life. And it's kind of funny, but I found the more I give, the more I get. And I'm lucky in my life, as I say, luckiest man alive. And boy, I've been truly blessed. And I can talk for, I guess, forever on variety. It's kind of a fun thing. Both my wife Jody, you know, I joke about her, but I am the luckiest man. I love her and I like her, and she's still fun to be around. And she doesn't take any garbage. I'll tell you one thing. I said about Rocky Martin, she is tough. I'll tell you that. But she's a great lady. She's been a great partner. I was international president of Variety from 1989 to 91. I was the youngest they ever had. And Jody was the first woman international president. At one time, Variety wasn't a real woman-friendly organization. It is today, but at one time it wasn't. One guy said, well, we don't want women in Variety because my wife wouldn't like me going to meetings with other women. Huh? So we were instrumental in doing that, but she's done that. And he talked about Miss World. And one of the things they told us, and this is, maybe I shouldn't even say, I better not say it. I'll say it, what the heck. In the train they said, now one thing you can't say is, how bad do you want to win? You just can't say that in judging of Miss World. But actually, we've been asked back. We're going back, and the Miss World pageant is supposed to be in Jakarta, but they're having some trouble over there. I don't know if you read it in the paper. They don't want them in swimsuits. And that was always my favorite part of the deal. But I don't know if it is going to be in Jakarta. But I looked at my watch, and I told them I wouldn't talk. But I'm gonna leave you with some things that I've accumulated over the years, and I call them suggestions on how to live. Take time to smell the roses. Take a nap on Sunday afternoon. Drink 8 glasses of water a day. Be a good listener. Improve your performance by improving your attitude. Remember, enthusiasm is contagious. So is apathy. Don't be afraid to say, I'm sorry. Don't take your health for granted. Don't interrupt. Don't tailgate. This is a very important one. Never say to the Godfather, over my dead body. Plan your work. Work your plan. Know when to punt. Wave at a child on a school bus. Listen to your children. Leave everything a little better than you found it. Leave the toilet seat in a down position. Keep it simple. Keep your promise. Eat a chocolate chip cookie. Never, ever take a laxative and a sleeping pill on the same night. I'm not going to go any farther than that. Take care of those you love. Be kinder than necessary. Make it a habit to do nice things for people that'll never know about it. Wear outrageous underwear under the most formal business attire that you have. Vote. Judge your success by the degree that you're enjoying peace, health, and love. Be a good loser, be a good winner. Be romantic. Live so that when your children think of fairness, caring, and integrity, they think of you. Be the one your client calls first. Never give up on someone. Miracles happen every day. Remember other people's birthdays. Sing in the shower. Don't nag, don't gossip. Don't take no from someone who can't say yes. Never lick a steak knife. That was from experience. Say thank you a lot, say please a lot. Slow dance. Stop blaming others. Take responsibility for every area of your life. Take care of your reputation. It's your most valuable asset, and you only get one. Make goals for yourself. What gets measured gets done. Find the how to achieve those goals. Call your mother. Do more than is expected. Be someone's hero. Give back to your community, and it doesn't really make any difference what you do. Just make it a point to spend some time giving back, whether it's Friday or the PTA or American Cancer. Find your niche and do it, and encourage your employees. Count your blessings. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your work. And enjoy your life. And I just got, Dennis Murdoch, would you come up here a minute? I just want to talk to you just for a second. You know, I told you that 10 years ago, I bought 9 shirts. Well, I have one of those shirts on today. She wasn't kidding. I want you to check the cuff. Is it frayed? Because I wear a copper bracelet, so that, is it frayed?
The shirt's fine, the finger is kind of a mess.
Well, I have bad finger. Is that frayed?
Nope, not
How
frayed.
about the neck?
Neck looks good.
How about the buttons? I got all these wires, but are the buttons intact?
They're all there.
Is the shirt still tucked in the back?
Oh my God. It's still tucked in. Still tucked in.
So that going that extra mile does pay off, doesn't it?